Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and welcome to Overwatch Central. We've gone over the good things of 2018, now let's take care of the bad, or at least the things that Overwatch and Blizzard did wrong. Also, do you like how I put DJ Khaled at the start of both the best and the worst bits, because it is both equally amazing and god-awful. There is a lot of stuff in 2018 that we could just have a go at Blizzard about with how they've gone about stuff, some of which has been out of their hands completely, but this is meant to be a video looking at what Blizzard did wrong and what they could do better in 2019. So it's not so much of a let's just shit on Blizzard video, we actually want to go over things that Blizzard hopefully are doing less of for 2019. And can actually rectify. In no particular order, let us start with endorsements. This was the system that Blizzard put in to try and get players to positively reinforce players that were good on their team. And by getting a lot of endorsements, you would increase your level and you'd get a loot box, for example. But the system wasn't really laid out properly, or at least it didn't seem like it. It was hard to tell how far away you were from an endorsement level, how many you would need, and honestly, I've been playing the game quite a lot, and every time I seem to log in, it says congratulations, you are now level 2. I've been level 2 for about 6 months, and I'd say that nothing has changed. I don't look at the other teammates that I have and look at their endorsement level, for example. It just doesn't seem like a really important bit of kit for Overwatch. And it's a system that I like the idea of and I think Blizzard could do more with, but they just haven't. They've just put a bare-bones system in and left it at that. You could also say that looking for group is another thing that has let down Blizzard and Overwatch a little bit, but to be fair, again, that's not Overwatch's fault. They gave us a system to use for looking for group. It's not their fault that we don't use it, you know what I mean? Granted, there's a lot that the system could add, for example, queuing as a main tank instead of just a tank. But the system is pretty good, it's just that nobody really uses it. Which is a real shame, but I certainly have to look at endorsements and go, it's the right idea, it just needs a little bit more love. Second up is the Overwatch Leak. Now it's quite funny because the Overwatch Leak was on the good things of 2018, but it's such a big integral part of the game that of course it's going to have good bits and bad bits. Now this isn't necessarily looking at stuff like Dreamcast, but as I said, that is completely out of Blizzard's hands at that rate, and also the other drama surrounding stuff like it. The XQC bans could have certainly been highlighted a lot better, how Blizzard are dealing with a tier 2 seed for example, all areas that there's a lot of drama and a lot of negativity surrounding. But it was more the case of the patches and how they were integrated into the game and continue to be integrated between what we play on live and also what the pros are playing on older patches. There isn't a better standout example than Hanzo in Stage 4. For those that don't remember or just didn't have an interest in the Overwatch League, Stage 4 was played with Brigitte, who of course we'll get onto in a second, but also with old Hanzo, as in not Storm Arrow Hanzo. This patch that was played on in particular was in the game for 2 days before it was changed. On the Tuesday, Brigitte entered the live servers, and on the Thursday, the Hanzo rework came onto the live servers too. But those 2 days, that patch, was what Stage 4 was played on in its entirety. Nobody enjoyed it, nobody could understand or really get into the games because it was so different. Hanzo was played a lot more with the old scatter arrow, and it became a bit of a meme with how Blizzard handled it. Now it does look for future seasons that the Overwatch League want to avoid any outdated patches. Of course, there's always going to be that case of as the season and stage goes on, there will be patches put into the game that the Overwatch League and contenders cannot change. But it should never get as bad as it did with old Hanzo in Stage 4. 5 weeks worth of Overwatch played on a patch that was in the game for 2 days. It just shouldn't happen. Speaking of bad patches, you have to talk about Brigitte. Again, it's not so much the hero and how she was implemented. I understand that a lot of people don't like her and want her deleted, of course, but if it wasn't for her, we'd still be playing Dive 2 years on, so swings and roundabouts for me. Brigitte, still a hero I enjoy to play. Of course, the composition is going to be on this list, but the problem was that season and stage of Brigitte being added into competitive. Brigitte was put onto the PTR very late February, the start of March, which was right at the start of Season 9. Brigitte was then put onto the live servers mid-March, but it took about 6 weeks almost for her to be put into competitive at the start of Season 10. Now of course Blizzard don't do this anymore, it usually ends up being a couple of weeks that a hero gets locked out of competitive before they go and become playable. But it's one of the biggest mistakes that Blizzard made because all in that time Brigitte could have been balanced a lot more and better suited for competitive. The fact that players waited 6 weeks for her to go into the game and then realised that she was incredibly strong and very, very meta just meant that all of that time was kind of wasted from Blizzard's perspective. Again, it's something that Blizzard have learned from in 2018, so I really doubt it'll happen in 2019, but it's still a big blunder that I did want to highlight. Not so much Brigitte's addition, but how Blizzard handled putting her into competitive. Next up are the events. Well, specifically the Summer Games, Winter Wonderland, and Junkenstein's Revenge. All of which were events that didn't change at all, other than having a competitive Lucio Ball in them, but I think that was in last year too, so granted, Jeff Kaplan did say that the latest events wouldn't have much new content in them, which is perfectly fine, but with stuff like Year of the Pig lined up and then Overwatch Archives sometime in April and May, you gotta hope that they're gonna bring new stuff to the table at least for that. Events are a big way that people come into the game to buy new skins, but if there's not an event, then what is the point? If it's just a case of putting in new skins in the game and rehashing the same old content, it gets really dull and really boring quickly. And whilst the skins have been amazing, releasing the skins prior to the event starting just felt that there wasn't really much to log into. And as I said in the other video, I've played no Winter Wonderland stuff and the event has basically just ended, so really disappointed in the events that Blizzard has had in 2018. Next up is Goat's Comp. It's a composition that's just been very meta for a while, and really, Blizzard have been a bit offbeat when it comes to trying to balance this and bring down the strength of it. Granted, it's not easy. All of the heroes in this composition are good for multiple reasons. Brigitte has been nerfed over and over again, but it just seems to be a composition that isn't going away. It's kind of like the Mercy meta, right? It's not so much that I have a problem with the meta itself, it's just more that it took Blizzard so long to actually address it and fix some of the issues that make this composition incredibly meta. I don't really want to harp on this for too long because you get the idea, but Goat's Comp certainly isn't in my fondest memories of 2018. I enjoy watching some of the pro players play it, but when it's all the teams play, it gets very boring very quickly. Doesn't matter what composition it is. Next up is Blizzcon, for a multitude of reasons for Blizzard, God bless, but for Overwatch there just wasn't anything new added. Every single year it seems that me and Miska sit down with Blizzcon and say that Overwatch needs to bring something new to the table, something fresh and exciting, and we just haven't had that in a good amount of time. Nothing really instilled the excitement of Sombra being added in at Blizzcon, the cinematic going into the Zarya Easter egg at the end, I suppose, the little cliffhanger. Everything about Overwatch seems so scheduled and focused, and because of that there's no real excitement around the game. I remember not expecting Anna when she came out because nobody knew that Blizzard were releasing heroes that often. But certainly being a fan of Taliesin and Evertel, they have mentioned they had similar things with World of Warcraft of course, that 2019 will be an amazing year for not only World of Warcraft and Blizzard, but Overwatch too with any luck. They keep saying that 2019 is going to be such a big year, then I'm really hoping it's going to be true. But BlizzCon this year was a bit of a dud, unfortunately, when it came to the announcements. I'm sure it was a great event, a love letter to the community, but that matched with all of the Diablo stuff, it was just a bit of a mess. Penultimately, main tanks. We have had Hammond added into the game and he is a great hero, but Overwatch is really lacking when it comes to main tanks in the game. This was one I asked Miska about and he certainly wanted to put in, but it seems that a lot of you guys agreed from the comments in the last video that not having any new main tanks has been a really big problem for the game in terms of originality, meta-defining stuff, and it just means that that whole playstyle and the person that has to play main tank is really struggling with diversity. I've just playing Reinhardt at the moment, unfortunately. It's a hero role that I've sworn off for now. I refuse to play Reinhardt in any composition anymore, just because I'm sick and tired of being that guy in that comp. But with any luck, hero 30, 32, 34, any other heroes I suppose will be on main tanks, really adding a bit more diversity to the tank role and giving people a reason to play it. And finally, I did say that this wasn't in any particular order, but lore has to be a big aspect of Overwatch that's been not so much somewhat ignored, but again just left to the wayside. The good news about this, and the reason why I wanted to put it last, is because we have this Echo stuff going on from the recent animated short that should increase the story progression and get it moving forward again, instead of looking at stuff like May's cinematic short. Diva's shooting star was good, but it didn't take the story of Overwatch anywhere. I'm pretty sure as well when it comes to comics, we haven't had a new one all year. I remember the Reddit thread saying that we had one in 2018, but I, for the life of me, can't remember what it is or can't even find it online. The last one that I see is the Yeti Hunt one from 2017. It's been a full year and we've seen no new comics. Maybe Blizzard don't see the point anymore, but at least say something about it. In any case, lore is something that I want to see more of in 2019 from Overwatch, as well as all of the other things. Before I forget, seasons as well. Seasons are certainly something that I want to see change in 2019. We've been talking about it a lot, hence why I didn't want to mention it too much here, but the fact that seasons are 2 months and nothing changes, and it all feels a little bit pointless, is a little bit of a problem in my eyes. But do let me know what you think. The things that Overwatch has done wrong in 2019, do let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, take care, and have a good new year. Merry 2019 to you. Hope it's a good one. Take care.